Well, big highball and hello to all the model railroaders and rail fans out there, and welcome to April 2023's edition of the Central Division. Hey, if you've gotten to know me and you've seen some past shows, normally I start videoing these pretty early in the morning, and same thing here. So I have to have my mug of coffee. I usually have that with me in the opening segments, and so this morning I have my Mr. Spock mug. Kind of got up, kind of felt sort of like it's going to be a logical day. So being a Star Trek nerd, I had to get my Mr. Spock mug out, fill him up with my caffeine. Hey, the last few weeks or so, I just realized that it's been a while since I've done an update for you. And we all know the story. Life gets busy. In my case, I work full time. I've got another hobby I have to devote some time to. I actually started learning violin about a year or 3 months ago. So with any musical instrument, you have to spend time with that each day. Family responsibilities and just different things like that. Now I have a video short I put out about a month ago, so if you haven't seen that, I invite you to go look at that. The video shorts are just kind of fun things. It shows trains running. I've done like a little music video thing, but again, it doesn't take the place of an update. So despite everything that's going on, life in general, certainly have not neglected model railroading. So I'm going to share with you some of the updates I've done on the layout, some layout projects I've been working on. So again, model railroading is always going to be my number one hobby, so I'm always going to be moving forward with that. A couple of personal things I did want to share with you. In this segment right now, it's April 2nd. I'm putting this together. And a couple of days ago, in my area, the Central Arkansas area, we had some really bad tornadoes that came through. And we weren't the only ones. There were other cities in Arkansas. My understanding is other states, Mississippi, Illinois, Indiana, really took a whomping from the storms. If your area or state experienced that, and I forgot to mention that, I apologize about that. But again, it's never a good thing. Now it got close enough to where I live. To where my wife and I went into the safe room, and luckily it went several miles away from us, so we got lucky. Everyone's fine, family's fine, but my area, man, it really took a beating. So anyway, just ask for kind of your thoughts and prayers, not only for the area I live in, but just everyone that was kind of hit by these storms on the last few days. And again, as we all know, this is just something you don't fool around with. It's just you see this stuff on the news, but until you actually an area that you're very familiar with, and when you see that torn up, it really brings it home, and you realize that these warnings and things you just don't play around with. You take them very seriously. Another thing I wanted to share with you, personal thing, and again, this is related to I would say model railroad health and safety. And as you've seen past episodes and how-to videos, I'm real big proponent on, wear a respirator when you're using spray paint and airbrush, dull coat or whatever. Not only a respirator, but a respirator that's rated to protect you from these sprays. Because again, it's over time it can cause problems none of us want. But kind of had something happen to me, roughly about a month and a half ago, which got me thinking, there's other, health, I wouldn't say, I guess you could call them concerns, and things that we need to be aware of in this hobby, to avoid, problems down the road that might prevent us from doing this hobby. But anyway, about a month and a half ago, I noticed kind of, pain and numbness in, my arm, kind of muscle weakness, and the ring finger and the pinky finger here, I'm gonna put my mug down, here were kind of numb and cold, and the same thing with the right side, but not as bad as the left side. And I was like, man, I didn't know what was going on. First thing I thought of is, okay, pinched nerve in the neck, had all the symptoms. Of course, you're thinking, could it be something else even worse? You did the worst thing, went out to WebMD, went out to Google. All I can say to that is go to a doctor. Don't try to self-diagnose. And anyway, went to a doctor, sent me to a physical therapist, and again, it had all the symptoms of a pinched nerve of the neck. Well, kind of the good and bad thing. The good thing is physical therapist, he does the initial checkout. He's like, problem's not in your neck, and which is a good thing. I mean, it's never good when you're having, medical issues, but certainly, if when it comes to like pinched nerves or anything of that nature, pain, it's per the physical therapist, obviously it's better to have an issue outside the neck and spine versus with the neck and spine. So that was the good thing. What was causing the issue, something I've never heard of, is it's basically the minor pectoral muscles that kind of are in this area here and this area here have shortened a little bit over time. And what this does is it pinches the nerves and the blood flow and just, the communications, everything kind of passing in this area. So it can cause, the numbness, the soreness, and all this other kind of stuff. So anyway, we knew what it was. Cool thing is, it's like easily treatable, easily curable, just a few things you have to change, posture and stuff like that. They got me doing the PT exercises, kind of get these muscles, stretched out and strengthened and everything like that. But this is kind of what caused it. And so first thing I thought was like, okay, the violin, because the violin, you're holding it in a very awkward position just by the nature of the instrument. And it can cause issues, like pinch nerves and issues and things like that, especially if you're real tense when you play. A lot of new players are. So that's the first thing. It's like, oh man, it's like, if I have to give it up, I have to give it up. But I'd hate that happen. Good thing is it's like, we're kind of going through all this stuff. It's like, not the violin. It's like, okay, good, not the violin. So what was it? Well, we think, going through kind of the history and kind of just self-observation and just, keeping a good log. But of all the things that was causing it was constantly looking down. And you hear about this, especially in the digital age. And one thing I like to do at night is, it's my, time to veg, and I'll turn on the TV and I'll get my iPad out, get in the recliner, I'll kick back, I'm looking at my iPad and I'm looking down. I've done that forever. It's just kind of just something you do at night. Well, the constant looking down caused the issue. So kind of how does this relate to model railroading? Well, it kind of got me thinking. Model railroading, it's we're looking down a lot of the times, be it we're working on our layout or we're working on a project, and it's not looking down. I mean, it's just life, right? You have to look down sometime. It's that looking down for just these long periods and then being kind of tensed up. And so the reason I'm kind of like telling you all this is, that this can actually happen like if we're looking on a structure and we're bent down too long, or we're kind of, we have that, tenseness in our shoulders and things like that. So, and it can also cause other problems, including issues in your neck and things like that. So again, kind of going back to the model railroading, staying well and safe in our hobby is, if you're looking down, you're working on a structure, you're working on your layout, take breaks, look up, stretch, go for just kind of a short walk. The main thing is, you don't want to just be looking down and just like concentrating for just hours on end, because again, it can kind of affect you. Something I really didn't think about really that much until this happened. And again, for people like me that enjoy their electronics and their tablets and their iPhones and smartphones and things like that. Again, you just have to be aware. We all look down. We're on our phones. Most cases are tablets. We're looking down. Some of this is not a big deal. We just don't spend that much time on it. Kind of for tech nerds like me that do, you just want to change some things. You bring that tablet up to eye level, the phone kind of up to eye level. Again, all comes back to just having your neck and head in that, that downward position for any length of time. So anyway, just something to be aware of. I want to share that with you. So now on for some more happy things. I think we're going to go ahead and get started on the update and show you some of these cool things I've been doing. And again, as I always say, for the subscribers out there, a big thank you for subscribing to the channel. I mean, you are the people that kind of keep me moving forward into the hobby. And if you haven't subscribed, I certainly invite you to do that. And hey, use that comment section too if you have, a question, or you see something you like, or you see something you don't like. I mean, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Let me know that. If you say, hey, is something I think it could be done better, or I don't understand, or I disagree, that's okay. Certainly I like the positive stuff, but the main thing is use that comment section and just kind of let me know what you think. It's certainly appreciated. So with that, we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you what I've done in the layout. So one of the areas I've been working to complete is the Arkansas Coffin Company complex, and this the actual company had on they had several buildings on their complex up in Fort Smith. Now I've had the main building done for some time, and so I've started putting everything together. So you see in the background there, a red building, I'm using that as a rail transfer building, and that's actually a kit called Boone Warehouse from Rail Scale Models, and it's a really cool kit. You can actually build it where you can take the roof off. It's got some great detail like the wooden flooring and the rafters and things like that. For the grounds itself, I opted to go just sort of a just gravel, as you see in many of these complexes. And so what I used is Woodland Scenic's fine scale ballast, mixed gray, and then went and added in fine dirt from Scenic Express, and I've still got to go in and then sprinkle some static grass here and there to kind of give it that overgrown look. So the street loading area in front of the Arkansas Coffin Company, I wanted a brick pavement, and this is sometimes seen in like old industrial areas around the country. So this is actually a brick sheet from Rail Scale Models. It's called Aged American Brick, and so for the base color, I went with a Krylon brick, and then added some different weathering powders, including a color called Old Tuscan. So for the loading ramp and loading dock, I ended up going with 2 kits from the Blair line. These are really nice wooden kits, and it came out looking really good. I would say if you get either of these kits, so one is the ramp and the other is loading dock, is compared to other wooden kits that I've built, the wood on these tends to be a little bit more delicate. So if you get these kits, just kind of a word of caution is take a little extra time and care when putting them together. So the actual complex had sidewalks leading to the different buildings. So for the sidewalks in this scene, I used aged concrete sidewalks from Rail Scale Models, and I started out with a base color Krylon paint called Paver Gray, and then added different weathering powders, including one called Old Yeller, which is kind of a yellowish tan color. So another area I've been working on is the locomotive service track, and this represents the backwater locomotive service track that was in the Fort Smith area. And this is where the Missouri Pacific locomotives assigned to the Fort Smith switching district would park and receive basic maintenance. So the structures I've gone with here, and again, these are just for show, they're not in their permanent location yet. The fuel tank is from JL Innovations. The shed is from GC Laser, and it's actually, the kit is called the Bunkhouse. And then of course the fuel column is from Stewart Products. I've been having some fun off the layout as well, and one of the projects I just finished up is the weathering of this Athearn ready-to-roll gondola. Now the overall look I wanted was a gondola that's seen some rough road life but just wasn't completely trashed out. So I started off by scraping little pieces of the lettering off using the backside of an X-Acto knife, and I went very carefully, very slowly to prevent scraping the paint behind the decals off. And then to get it ready for my favorite fade technique, which is a dot fade using artist oils, I applied a semi-gloss spray coat. And once that was done, then the For the dot fade, the colors I used were the 3 go-tos for any model that I do, which is titanium white, burnt umber, and raw sienna. And then I also used a color close to a boxcar red, the actual model you see here, as well as a contrasting color, which is a kind of a gray blue. So for the pitting along the sides of the car, I just took a artist acrylic burnt umber and a fine tip brush and just kind of dabbed and dotted here and there. Of course, the 70s, you saw a lot of chalk graffiti, so I went ahead and added a little bit of chalk graffiti to the car there, and that's just a decal there. It was really just water slide, real easy to apply. So my gondola needed a load, and I kind of thought about different things to do, and even leaving it empty. But I thought, no, it needs a load, and so I wanted to do something kind of unique, kind of fun. So what I did is the theme is a junkyard or a distributor, or something similar that just had leftover junk, Coca-Cola trucks, old drink machines, from the 40s and 50s. And these were, ready to throw out. So they ended up on the gondola on their way to a scrapyard. So the drink machines I got off of eBay, and there's sellers out there that do some really cool stuff on 3D printers. And one of them is, this guy was making drink machines from the 40s and 50s era. So I got a couple packs of those. The truck is actually Classic Metalworks, and I took the flatbed off of it, knocked out the windows, took the wheels off. And the trailer you'll see here in the future shot was also Classic Metalworks. As far as the weathering, it was pretty easy. Basically gave everything a good coat of dull coat. For the dark rust, I used a artist dark umber acrylic, and then went back and used various weathering powders, including dark rust and a rail brown. And I think everything turned out pretty well. Okay, well, hey guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the update. As you see, a lot going on. It never gets tiring. As I always say, there's always something to do in this hobby. So just I hope you enjoyed the program and enjoyed kind of what I've shown you. And again, I'm gonna try not to be so much of a stranger next time. I'm gonna see if I can kind of get back to doing these updates. More on a scheduled basis for you, but we'll see what happens there. Certainly there'll be more video shorts coming, and I'm kind of really starting to dig those. Those are kind of cool, and they don't take a lot of times, and it too kind of keeps you updated on things that happen. But again, it's not like a full update. It doesn't give me really the chance to visit with you as long as I'd like to. Again, as I always do, I want to thank those who have subscribed to the channel. Again, it's the number of subscribers doesn't really matter. It can be 2 subscribers all the way up to thousands of subscribers. I'm just happy to be sharing the hobby with you. But for those who actually that have found they enjoy the channel and have actually subscribed, I certainly thank you for that. You're the ones. I say every time, you're the ones that kind of keep me going and motivated. So I appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed and you like what you see, I certainly invite you to go check out the channel. And if you like what you see, subscribe. Certainly ask you to like the video. I kind of like to see, give a count and everything. And as always, don't forget to use the comment section. And again, it's both the good and bad. If you see something you like, if you have a question, or if there's something you disagree with, or something you think, hey, I think this can do better. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Just tell me that. Just kind of give me that feedback. So again, remember too, kind of like what I shared with you earlier on, the neck issue, the pictorial issue, and kind of the good posture and taking the breaks. Again, that's so important. So again, if you take anything off this this episode. You know, that's probably the most important thing. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you next time. And until next time, happy model railroading.